That's where I go, mate. I mean, I hope not. I hope you don't, you know.
Yeah.
This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we're going to assault the Foundry and experience the revival of Revan and the injection of that Revan story from KOTOR into the Star Wars The Old Republic universe. We're also going to engage in some irrational speculation on what we might see in patch update, game update, expansion, whatever you want to call it, 6.0, which was sort of confirmed this week, and we'll talk about that. This broadcast Astromech is EPC 237. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. It's going really well. We just finished with MFN because it's Tuesday night. We're recording on Tuesday night this week. And for Mandatory Fun Night, we again went back to Gods from the Machine. And we downed Tithe, and we downed the Sisters, and we came darn close to getting the Hut as well. I mean, really close. We just ran out of, time for that one. We had a really good first attempt where we ran out of time. I mean, he didn't run out of health before we ran out of health. That sounds kind of typical, actually. We got pushed off the side, in other words. The red came out. But then our second attempt was, then we ran out of time during our second attempt. But that was everyone got to see Nahut, which I was happy about. Then last week on our ops group, we went and we did Nahut and Skyva and Isaacs. So Isaacs, I mean. I don't know why I keep saying Isaacs, which is an interesting fight. We're still struggling with phase 2. We'll see how well we do on that this week. We just haven't figured it out yet, or
just haven't learned it. Nobody had seen it before we tried it once or twice last week. Part of our problem is it is a long fight and it is a long operation, and we definitely limit our time with our ops group very, very strictly. So we don't give ourselves a lot of time to get into these new fights. And without a lockout being able to carry over from week to week, it's sort of tough for us.
And I, looking at Conquest this week, I'm taking a very layback approach to Conquest, but I think I'm going to have no trouble getting my 15,000 points. But I'm just going to do maybe, because they give you points for doing one heroic on Nar Shaddaa, and they give you points for doing one bounty hunter thing. So it's not like the weeks where you have to do the weekly or, to get the points. So I got 2,700 points today for just doing basically 2 quests. Well, the bounty hunter thing is like a little tiny quest line, but if I just do that every day, it'd be no problem. So that's my plan for Conquest this week.
No problem. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's good. How about you, Max?
Also doing well. I did some Conquest last week, and what I did is I got back into, which I haven't done for weeks now, I got back into a little bit of PvP and GSF, and I did my biggest chunk of points by doing the GSF weekly. Flew my ships around, fought the good fight. That was really easy to get through. It's between 4 and 7 matches to get through and get that big chunk from last week. How about this week? Do we have GSF weekly as a big chunk of points? Looks like we don't. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do this week. Maybe I'll do sort of your plan, run some of those one time per legacy dailies that go pretty quick. That's a nice way to go about doing it. We might also get a group together, hit a couple world bosses over the weekend. That's another way like to go do it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the thing to do, because if you kill the world boss on Nar Shaddaa, it's 5,000 points. And same with the world boss on Tatooine.
Yep, with the bonuses. Doing those
or
two
3,000.
within probably just like maybe 15 minutes, we could kill both the world bosses and maybe go kill an enemy commander, and that would be 15k points for anybody that's got the full bonus.
Right. The only thing about the world bosses is just, are they up?
Yeah.
Are there other groups trying to get them? And so it might be more than a few minutes because of those factors, which is, yeah.
Yep. But flying GSF was just fine. I did a little PvP also, queued into a few matches. There was a little bit of bad behavior in in chat in PvP, which I was sort of not happy about. I didn't end up reporting the person, but I probably should have. They were sort of really being mean in a really sort of bad way. Keep an eye out for that. We can clean up the community. That kind of thing shouldn't happen. Nobody should be derogatory or using slurs or slanders in any way. So I recommend everyone be vigilant and be the community you want to see, and help clean it up when that kind of thing happens.
But speaking of PvP, one of the things you can do for Conquest is like kill 25 players on Nar Shaddaa,
Really?
which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
Nar Shaddaa Slayer. Defeat 25 enemy players on Nar Shaddaa. That is interesting. And that's a daily, once per legacy, repeatable quest. Interesting.
I'm not even sure where you go on Nar Shaddaa that you could even do that.
You would just have to switch over to a PvP instance, and then maybe like track down and fight people that are trying to kill the world boss, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or just anybody who's on the PvP instance, PvP map. That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
A couple times, especially because it is this kind of objective, you could put the word out. You could put the word out on the Republic side and the Imperial side. This has happened from time to time, especially during events like Rack Goals. I remember it happening multiple times. Is put the word out, everybody switches over to the PvP map, and people go to town just to try to get the achievements. And you get a big group on each side, and people sort of zerging back and forth. And you can have a little bit of fun if you sort of rally the troops on both sides and say, hey, we're going to do this. Come get your kills. You'll get big groups that will join in just to get that done. All right, so that is what I have been doing. Let's see what else is going on.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Not a lot in the news, but if you look in the dev tracker, there is continued discussion about the conquest changes that have gone in. Clarifications have gone out from Eric about a few things that have been asked. What's up with these daily repeatables versus infinitely repeatable? It seems like there aren't very many daily repeatables, and they're specifically legacy, and a lot of it's being clarified. A lot of the bugs are fixed. So the way it stands right now is working as intended for 5.8. They still may make more changes, but you can look at some of what the rationale was and how some of those changes were made in the dev tracker and what Eric explains. But basically, to sum it up, they did some shuffling. They do want that idea, and the way it used to work before was it was once per legacy for the repeatables, but they added this new idea of the daily repeatables, which is a new category. They did shift some things to the once per legacy versus the infinitely repeatable, and shifted a couple things back and forth. They tried to shake things up a little bit. Their design may not be completely settled yet, so keep an eye out, keep the feedback coming, and if you want to see more of a particular thing in a repeatable category, or more points for an infinitely repeatable type of concept, I know crafting being really as nerfed as it has been a hit to some guilds that relied on that for part of the way they experienced the conquest objectives. Keep the feedback coming, and they could still change it. So that's where that stands.
Also news in the cartel market. The direct sale thing started today, which has been a lot of fun for a lot of people. Even for me, I spent some cartel coins today. I sat down and I tried to remember what are the things that I've always wanted and was disappointed that I missed out on. And I bought two things. Big spender. I bought PBJ time, which is an emote. A dance, basically. Peanut butter jelly time. But it's spelled PBJ time if you want to look for it in the cartel market. For a whopping 60 cartel coins. And also the chicken dance, which basically is the chicken dance from Arrested Development. So how could you not love that? Not that I'm done shopping, but I was happy to find those two right away. And I know we've had some people in the guild that have been doing a lot of shopping. Just a lot.
Yep. I have not bought anything yet. I will. I may. We'll see. I have nothing has been sort of on my wish list where I've just been waiting for this to happen. So we'll see what happens. I do the one thing I sort of like to get from time to time is the companions. Now we've got a big huge stack, a ton of them, so it's not that imperative anymore. But the Wampa was one that I think I did not unlock for whatever reason, so I could see maybe getting that. We shall see. Let's see. Also in community news, we've got a few things that have popped up in community news. If you were paying attention to the influencers and some of the news that showed up in Reddit, SWTOR Central did a live stream interview with Eric Musco and Charles Boyd. They came on, they talked a little bit, and one of the things that sort of came out as confirmed for sure, even though they hinted at it in the previous live stream, was there is going to be a 6.0 expansion. And when they say 6.0, when they say a big point release like that, a big numeric release like that, usually it means some significant content. So this is something that we all can sort of start looking forward to. Hopefully we'll hear some news on it before long. They have not given any dates. They have not specified when it will come. So who knows? It could be 2019 or 2020. Let's keep our expectations in check. But when we get to running the Flashpoint tonight, maybe Seema and I will go back and forth on what we wish is in there, what we think is going to be in there, what our guesses are for 6.0. Also, this idea of getting some of those community contributors on the live streams seems to be continuing. Volk has an interview scheduled, I think, again with Charles and Eric on Friday at 2 p.m. Central. So Volk is another community contributor. He's been doing podcasting and videos for quite a long time. He's pretty cool and fun to listen to. Check that out. That's coming up on Friday. Maybe we'll hear a little bit more of what's coming up. I think it was mostly going to specify, or he was going to mostly ask them about 5.8 though. What's up with the Anathema Flashpoint? What are we going to see? Any other hints about what's coming in 5.8, which will be dropping a month from now. It'll be dropping May 1st. Or is that 5.9? Whatever's coming next. The May 1st update. And then, although we're talking about it right now, you probably see a recording of it later. Kidley and SWTORista teamed up for a fashion live stream tonight. So we're not able to see it. We were doing our mandatory fun night in this podcast, but I'll have to check out the recordings and see what those guys did.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun.
Another cool couple community members that have been doing stuff for a long time. And for our guild, good luck on Isaacs. We've got a couple lockouts there for you. Hopefully we're going to get a guild group that downs it, even though a couple individuals in the guild have already killed Isaacs. We're hoping to get one of our ops teams to get an Isaacs kill before long, and as soon as that happens, we'll get an Isaac statue posted to the guild ships to show it off that our guild got past that milestone.
Yay! Also, for next week, MFN is going to be on the pub side, and we're going to do Gods from the Machine again for the pub side.
Yes, because we have a Republic ops team that runs on Monday nights, and we want to give them a head start as well. And we'll get our Republic characters to get some time in there, which is fun for us to all play our Republic characters, which we all have. So that's cool. All right. We are back on the fleet. Kemval, what's up for tonight?
Jinasiwe ja alaize nam nadize. Ustaupain ICJ in alam is frumadine habans.
That's quite interesting. So that goes without saying what Kimball just said. I think that it just explains it all, and we don't need to comment it on anymore. We last week did Boarding Party. So there's a basically it's a two-piece Flashpoint that leads you into the introduction of Revan back into the SWTOR universe. So Revan was a story that started in KOTOR, the old Knights of the Republic, old Republic games, and then there were books that talked about Revan. Then this part of the class story in these two Flashpoints is where Revan comes back into the SWTOR universe. Becomes sort of SWTOR canon at this point. So we'll play the Foundry, which is where we actually get to meet Revan, and hopefully we'll get through it and get our fancy companions to do most of the work for us. And as we do that, so I'll start it up here, start this conversation.
There's a crew waiting aboard the Republic cruiser, my lord. Give the word and they'll take you straight to the Foundry.
As we'll start story mode. While we're doing that, we'll sort of speculate on what we're hoping for in 6.0 and what realistically we may expect in 6.0. Before we do that, I have one question for you, Seema. Why in my notes that I carried out for the last 2 weeks do I have Skadge comes from Scotland? Do you remember what that was?
Because, yes. Because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about companions in I forget the context, and you said, where does Skadge come from anyway? And so I asked my phone. I said, okay, Google, where does Skadge come from? And Google came back right like that and said, Scotland.
Oh, okay. So the interwebs, books of knowledge have explained to us that Skadge comes from Scotland. That's good to know.
I mean, she didn't even think twice. She just went, Scotland.
Yeah. No, that's an easy one. Scotland. Okay. I wonder if that refers to like some Scottish food or something, some one of those.
No. She thought I said, the voice recognition thought I said Scotch.
Scotch. Oh, where does Scotch come from? Oh,
like
I
I would ask where Scotch comes from.
Where does Irish whiskey come from? No idea. That's a mystery. No one knows.
See, if I had asked, Alexa, she would have known I didn't mean Scotch.
I was wondering if there was one of those like nasty Scottish foods that I would still eat. I'll eat them all, but you take a pig eyeball and you mash it up into the ear of a cow and boil it.
That sounds better
That's
than
called
some
Skadge.
of whatever. Some of the food. Yeah, it's called Skadge.
And get a nice helping of Skadge. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, so this Helm Officer Martos is going to take us to the Foundry. Maybe we get to force choke him on the way. Start conversation.
Helmsman, set course for the Foundry.
Yes, my lord. Laying in course.
You better.
Any words to the crew before the assault?
Force choke.
Don't waste my time.
They know their duty, and I'm not here to comfort them. Make the jump to light speed.
Aye, aye. Engaging hyperdrive.
And Martos, do a barrel roll. I don't know why, but that's a thing you say.
Authorization codes to the Republic fleet. They're allowing us to pass the blockade. Approaching the Foundry. Receiving transmission.
This is landing control to Republic Cruiser Doran Sky. You're 6 hours off schedule. Is there a problem?
We're fine, thank you. That's the most appropriate response. We're fine, thank you. How are you?
Adjust course to avoid an Imperial patrol. Nothing to be concerned about.
Understood.
Or did you hear my imitation of a Republic?
The ship while we run the final security checks.
Did you hear his imitation of a Republic accent? Nothing to be concerned about. He dropped the Imperial accent for that little cutscene. I'm gonna do it again. Abort for all. Haha. I'm doing it again. I want to hear that. I want to listen to that accent again.
All right.
Helmsman, set course for
Yes. We'll spacebar through that. Don't waste my time. Seema again says, do the thing.
I decided
you're
to
gonna
talk
do
to
something
them.
else?
Those who do my bidding will win the favor of the Sith. That is all you need to know.
Still nasty.
Course set. Engaging hyperdrive.
All right. Now listen when I respond.
Transmitting
Or it might be you.
authorization codes to the Republic fleet. They're allowing us to pass the blockade. Approaching the Foundry. Receiving transmission.
This is landing control to Republic Cruiser Doran Sky. You're 6 hours off schedule. Is there a problem?
Here we go.
We had to adjust course to avoid an Imperial patrol. Nothing to be concerned about.
Understood. You have permission to dock.
Clever.
Board the ship while we run the final security checks.
Hey, you sound like an Imperial. Oh, that was a clever little addition.
We're docked. Estimate 2 minutes until our fleet arrives and the battle begins. If I may be so bold, I suggest you take the offensive.
You may not be so bold. If I may be so bold, shut up.
Shut up, man.
Shut up, Nadia. All right. Here we go. Let's assault the foundry. So I think at this point...
She's another one that hasn't returned.
Nadia? I guess she hasn't.
Yeah.
A couple people think Nadia's their favorite character. I have heard.
Yeah.
I do not. I think she's a little weak-minded fool. Susceptible to my Jedi mind
She's
tricks.
what we used to call a whiny beanie kid.
Ooh, I forgot. Why is this AoE is just so huge? This is completely not fair at all. Look at this. I just cover the entire screen. Whereas the mercenary AoEs are like 1 meter.
Yeah.
Just enough to cover one person's foot. How is that an AoE? Just a very small area. Don't stun me. I'll stun you right back, bro. We don't need to kill all the trash, do we? We're supposed to go. I'm not even paying attention. This way. We go this way. All right, Seema. 6.0 expansion drops. What are you hoping to see?
Well, I guess the easiest prediction is, since it's a, major number .0 release, to see, another 5 levels.
Okay. Now, do you hope there's another 5 levels, or are you just expecting that we'll see 5 levels?
I have mixed feelings. I'm expecting to see it, but I also feel like, and it's MMO-ish to have it, but I'm not sure what good it does.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much use in it if again, like as you say, if you really think about it. But I like it. I always like it. For whatever reason, it's like a thing to do, and I get into it, and I want to level up my character, and I want to level up other characters, and it might make dealing with command ranks weird. I don't know how that's going to work, but maybe command rank still stays and is independent of your character level. So there's other games that do that, and he is sort of like the Paragon levels or Paragon ranks are like in ESO, the champion ranks are legacy-wide, the equivalent of legacy-wide, and if you level up an alt, you're still using sort of the legacy champion ranks, and it's independent of the character level.
I think SWTOR is perfectly set up because of the planet syncing to have an additional 5 levels, because one of the things you have to be thinking about when you're a game designer is, what am I obsoleting by adding 5 levels? And
right.
SWTOR doesn't have to really ask that.
Correct. Yeah, true. That's definitely true. Yeah, so the other thing you typically get when you add additional levels is additional abilities, which is a potentially fun part as well. Oh, ding!
Yeah.
I just leveled level 46.
Which, that brings balance issues and...
Right. Makes things complicated. If you were going to get a new ability, a new spell of some kind, say for this character, for a Sork, or for any character, can you think of any that you've sort of been hoping for, or?
Well, this is not very creative, but stealth. I always want stealth.
Stealth on more characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
a useful ability.
It wouldn't be very good for them to give me it either. I mean, it's a specialized thing that, you know,
It's balanced to a character. There's a lot of
right.
implications of it. Let's see, what would I want? You know, okay, so here's a wish would be 1 or 2 more classes. What if we had new classes? Like a pet handler class. No, I'm not talking about animal husbandry.
A farmer.
No, like so I think this is what I played in Star Wars Galaxy, was a pet handler, pet wrangler type of class, and I would go out and I would go and tame some rancors, and I would use them to go and be like fighting stuff, if I'm remembering correctly.
I would like that because, yeah, I wouldn't mind having like a little crew. Like I'd have my companion and then like a fighting pet, and then like my non-fighting pet,
and your abilities would
Yeah.
need to sort of be targeted at pet management, and the
Right.
pet is what's doing the damage, even though you're sort of pressing abilities to command the pet to make it balanced and not make it just like, well, you have a bunch of abilities and now you have an extra companion, because that's a little bit boring. But yeah,
Right.
that could be quite interesting. That was always something I like in some games. I like it. In other games, I don't like the pet classes. I especially don't like the pet classes where technically it's a pet class, but they give you just like one pet, and it's the same pet model, and that's all you get. And maybe it evolves into, you know, at higher levels to a stronger version of that pet. I'm not fond of being limited like that.
so you want the variety.
Yes, I want the variety and maybe the ability to go from planet to planet and pick my whatever creatures. If I want a Varanticus or I want a Vractal or whatever, you know, I can go get them and use that one. You tame them or whatever and use them. I think that would be really cool. All right, here's our first boss, the Foundry Guardian, ancient war machine, big robot droid. I think he'll die pretty quick. Chat room, Zen suggests a droid master class. That could also be, so again, sort of pet class, but maybe more designed around you're sort of like a tactical commander of a droid squad of some kind. That could be really cool. I like that. Oh, Beastmaster. But that too. So Beastmaster, Droid Master, Astromech. Astromech droid class. What about a droid? There you go. What about the whole class is just a droid class? And maybe you can, I don't know what kind of assault droid, but you just run around. Remember, you know, like the Trooper Companion 4X? Maybe you get to customize your droid model, but you're just a droid. And you have droid abilities, and there's a sort of a Sith version of the droid and a Republic version of the droid. We'd have to figure out if there would be sort of an advanced class, like an assault droid versus a support droid. You could probably do that pretty easily. All right, this is an important part. This cutscene, I believe, is where we hear from Revan. Spoiler. Ready?
Ready.
Click. And we might both need to click. Yep, check mark.
Stop. It's time we talked.
Okay.
I am the master of the Foundry. Once the Emperor's prisoner, now the man you've come to destroy.
I'm here to take the station. You happen to be in my way.
Maybe you believe that, but your masters have other priorities. 300 years ago, I found your empire in the stars and stood against the Emperor himself. I was betrayed, defeated.
I paid the price as the Emperor ravaged my mind over centuries. But I gave him nothing. I am proof that the dark side can be resisted.
Who were you?
You say you're a Jedi. You say you fought the Emperor.
In my time, servants of the Sith invaded the Republic. I gave up everything to seek their masters, and I discovered Droman Kaas. I've seen the Emperor's corruption. He and everything he's built must be destroyed, or the galaxy will suffer forever. You don't need to die with him. Surrender, and you can wait out this war as comfortable prisoners.
Are you serious?
Killing you will be such fun.
You leave me no choice but to turn the Foundry against you. These machines are extermination droids. My infinite army. Farewell.
Okay, so all the text was still saying mysterious Jedi, but and he didn't show his full face, but you just saw his chin. But with the robes and everything, it's quite obvious to anyone, especially the first time through, that, oh man, it's Revan. Woohoo! So now we've got droids.
Units converge on intruders. Psycholocutor and observer specialties report to tactical control.
And there we just heard HK-47, which is also another superstar of lore that we certainly want to hear from, and is always fun in every incarnation. So now has speaking parts voiceover as we're approaching this next chamber, and I think we're going to see him too. Okay, so new classes, maybe some new levels, some new abilities. What else in terms of, what about content-wise? What are you hoping for? What do you expect to see? How do you think that's going to go?
Well, I mean, I really would like to see new operation, of course.
I would be surprised if there was not. In fact, my bet would be two operations. If I had to irrationally speculate.
Well, yeah, irresponsibly speculate. Yeah, 2 would be great. Yeah.
We got a view. We even on the live stream we met the ops designer that designed Gods from the Machine, and he talked about what kinds of things he would want in future ops a tiny bit. He alluded to saying, you know, this was a very hard one. Maybe would do something not as, you know, back to sort of more normal in the future, that kind of thing.
Right.
With all of that kind of thing in mind, I would bet heavily on 1, and I would potentially even think of there being 2. So Zen in the chat room is suggesting, what if they had one full one at release and another one that was a slow burn release like Gods from the Machine?
That's a great idea.
That actually is. I think that's a really good idea. Go ahead and do the slow burn again, but if we've got one full new one right away, and then the slow burn of additional content, that's not a bad way to sort of do the best of both. ¿Por qué no los dos? That's what I keep saying to my kids. Dad, should we open the Samoas or the Thin Mints? ¿Por qué no los dos?
Yes, that's an excellent point. Why not both?
That's what I say. Alright, we don't need to kill.
Now I want Thin Mints, damn you.
I think I might have like 5 Thin Mints left. I bought a whole bunch of Thin Mints from a Girl Scout, and then I ate them all, and then there was another Girl Scout like 2 weeks later, so I bought like 6 more boxes.
Nice.
I came across that, and I was like, yay!
Objection. My master promised you would die.
I would buy them all year round. I don't know why they don't have them all year round.
You'll perish well before then.
I wonder if you can like get them online all year round. So here HK is still chatting with us. So
I would like to see something interesting coming out of crafting.
Okay.
Like I know that basically crafting augments and augment kits is sort of like the bread and butter of crafting, which is fine. And I've said this a million times before,
like
but
bread
like
and butter.
Pets and toys and mounts and, you know, maybe even droid companions.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, again, just because I've experienced it most recently, Elder Scrolls does a lot with crafting. And in fact, the way set bonuses work in that game is you can definitely have multiple set bonuses, and the set bonuses sort of on the accessory slots, you can have set bonuses on those too. So you could have you could have 2 5-piece set bonuses. And the way the crafting of gear works is some of the best in slot pieces for certain builds are crafted. So you might be wearing a drop set and a crafted set, or some like 3 pieces of a crafted set is best in slot when mixed with 5 pieces of this high-end end game content set. And then but to craft those bigger pieces do take a lot of work. In fact, you sort of have to level up, go way beyond just leveling up your crafting skill in order to be able to craft them. You have to be researching extra traits and abilities. All right, we're getting to another cutscene, I think, here for HK. Crafting would be cool.
Assessment. You have been exceedingly sporting during our hunt.
There we go.
47, the Master's most faithful ally, once a mere assassin droid, it is now my burden and joy to command the Foundry's mechanical armies.
We get a big hologram of HK-47, arrogant machine, a Jedi with an assassin. I don't know. I'll just pick whatever.
You're awfully enamored of yourself.
Objection. My pride is entirely warranted. The extermination droids are my Master's crowning achievement. They are equipped with bioscanners capable of detecting Sith genetic material. Any organics with Sith ancestry will be slaughtered. This includes 97.8% of the Imperial population.
Nice. I think we're finished here.
Too bad my species doesn't have any Sith genetic material.
Ooh.
Commentary. Unfortunately for you, the Master still wants you dead. Your bones will make excellent trophies to commemorate my return to assassination.
And here we go. We actually get to fight HK-47.
Prejudice?
For the first time. We will fight him again in future elements of the game. Alright, this fight is...
Ready?
Yep. This fight used to be difficult in for just 2 people. We cannot see target. What the heck? The heck do you mean? There we go.
My Master will appreciate my efforts here.
It used to be difficult for just two people because you have to click the...
Activating assassination protocols level 2.
Click the things and kill a bunch of ads that spawn. So now here's some ads popping up. Kill the ads, and then he'll pop into the middle. But we're killing him really quick, so this isn't gonna be a problem. I was worried that we would run into difficulties. Where'd he go? So now the center part will drop down on him unless we kill him too quick, which we might.
Warning. Excessive damage sustained.
Oh, we gotta click the panels. Did you already click all the panels?
I clicked 2 of them.
Completed. Defeat HK-47. Oh, clean up the ads. No problem.
Poor HK.
Poor HK.
All he wanted to do was serve his master.
All he wanted to do was kill us with extreme prejudice.
Zen in the chat is mentioning that he foresees some new guild management tools, which reminds me, yeah, just in general, tools would be awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, how would you like something like being able to search across all your alts for things that you've lost?
Nah, I can do without that. No, yeah.
Who would need that?
I've never whined about that before.
What?
I forget what I was looking for the other day, but I thought, you know what? I feel like I should just put in a ticket to and say, can you please find which of my characters
Yeah, you
has
do the database
following
lookup.
items
I
on
mean,
it?
geez, I'm
Yeah.
like flipping between all these different characters. I left my whatever somewhere.
And the really bad thing about it is I might actually look on the character that has it and still not find it because I've got the wrong visual idea of what the icon is or something.
Right, right. Yeah, you're having to just like visibly, what you always say, look with my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. I forgot this outside part. So apparently there's an atmosphere out here. I don't see a atmosphere, a spacesuit. I'm not wearing a spacesuit.
Republic cruisers have been destroyed, but they're not retreating.
Hello, Kidley. How you doing? How was your stream tonight? We talked about it a little bit. Did you have a good stream? All right.
A fashion live stream.
Finish up this outside point, and then I think we get to see Revan. So if you had to invent a big scale feature for 6.0 SEMA, if you had to pick something like, like the introduction of GSF, do you have anything in mind for that? Some big new thing that you'd want to see added to the game?
Well, I mean, the easy thing would be to say, some kind of mini game like Pazak or pod racing.
Now this is pod racing. Yep.
Although they have said in the past that pod racing would be tough to do, but I think because they were considering, actual competitive pod racing between two characters, and the challenge was, since we're playing on a client, can you really tell who's ahead? When it gets down to split seconds, the internet's in the middle there, so. But they could figure out something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you could figure out something. But what they would have to figure out might end up being unsatisfactory because it would potentially have to be more on rails than you would really want.
Yeah, that's true.
I do.
Well, I mean, we could have the much asked for PvE version of GSF.
Yes, that's a good one. I forgot about that. But
I mean, as long as we're being completely and totally irresponsible.
Completely irrational in our wants and in our hopes and dreams. Don't let your dreams be dreams, Seema. Just do it. Yeah, I would really like PvE GSF. I think that would open up a whole new set of stuff for guild groups to do, a whole new way to develop content. And if you want to really get crazy, all right, here we go. How about PvE GSF, but it's procedurally generated? So every time you take your guild fleet out and go assault a planet or some sector of space, it's different. And you might discover new enemies to battle, or there might be a new fleet, a Guri fleet that you encounter, and it's all procedurally generated, and the rewards are variable based on what happens to show up that day and that kind of thing. You start doing the things like procedural generation, and your need to keep developing, keep a rapid pace of new content and new maps and that kind of thing becomes much less. It doesn't go away, but it becomes less. So I would like that. That is a great idea.
And
I just had.
Not only that, a PvE version of GSF would actually feed the PvP version as well.
Sure. And
as more people actually learned how to fly.
Right, which is a big barrier.
Learned how to outfit their ships and what each ability does and what their crew does. Yeah.
If we could do that as a guild group, just go into a PvE version of GSF and all fight together, it would be so much easier to sort of ramp people up and talk about what to do and give people examples and show people where to go and where to fly and that kind of thing. It's just so hard that learning curve is quite high. I think there was a thread on Reddit recently which said, hey, is the difficulty of the learning curve of GSF a big barrier to anyone? What do you think? And of course, lots of people were saying, yeah, of course, it's a huge barrier. You get in there the first few times and all you're doing is crashing into asteroids, and then, then somebody blows you up and you have no idea even where it came from or who shot you or what the deal is.
Right.
And that can be really frustrating.
I mean, it's one thing to have a learning curve, but with GSF, it's not only a high learning curve, but while you're in that learning curve, it's not fun. It's unpleasant.
Yeah.
So it's hard for people to keep coming back. At least it was for me.
Absolutely. So that is a good one. But your other idea of Pazak or other mini games, it seems like the gambling games, Sabak, Pazak, it seems like they should be able to do that with relatively low development effort. I mean, you still need to make a clean design, but they've been implemented before. Pick one of those designs and just put it in. Give us something to goof off and play and do a little, play cards while we're waiting for a war zone to pop or something between a couple people.
Right.
We're getting our ops team together for the night. We've got 15 minutes. All right, we'll do a little gambling. I'm shocked to find gambling in this establishment. That would be excellent. Yeah, I get that pod racing might be more difficult and it might end up on rails and be weird, but the gambling you could do. Hey, we've got the table, we've got the art, even there already. Yeah, make it happen, make it so, BioWare. What else? Anything else? Anything else big? I think we're getting to the final battle here. So we'll wrap it up after the final battle. So you think while we're fighting Revan here, you think about what else you'd want to see, what other irrational, unrealistic expectation that we can set for everyone. All right, here's the cutscene.
That HK unit you destroyed, you waited loyally for 300 years. I can rebuild him, but it won't be the same. Can't you see you're on the wrong side? The Emperor is death. For you, for me, for the galaxy.
I was just I was sitting back. I realized I have to pick a response. Idiot, I've already won.
You're only making this more painful for yourself.
I have done what no one else could do. As a young Jedi, I went to war. I accepted violence and darkness, and the Emperor called to me from across the galaxy. He made me a Sith Lord and named me Darth Revan.
There we go.
For him.
If you weren't sure before.
Republic, but I have found redemption.
I've never heard
I've
of you.
never heard of you.
Darth Revan. I don't know the name.
I nearly destroyed the Republic. And that nearly destroyed me. When the Jedi returned me to the light, my memory was shattered. It took me years to track and confront the Emperor again. I tried to end him, and he murdered my companions and locked me away.
You like to ramble, I see.
I just clicked on that one.
Trying to justify destroying a whole culture to yourself.
You've
Or
got
just
me
hoping to put it to
monologuing.
death.
That's enough! All
Like
those
every good
years
villain
in his
does.
prison, I could feel him in my mind, drawing on my connection to the Force. But I was in his mind too, fighting him. Only I've been both Jedi and Sith, and found clarity in the Force. Only I understand him, and his death is my responsibility.
There he goes. He just put on his mask. That's pretty iconic right there. And now he lights up the lightsabers, ignites. We only see one of them so far. You're just another madman, or that's enough attack. I think that's the point that I'm at.
Looks like it's your turn to die now.
But he's got the,
twice before.
we've seen the purple blade. I think he's got both of his blades out. No, just one so far. Where's his other blade?
Yeah, I kind of think we might stop you.
got like a whole ops team here, unfortunately. Sorry, Revan. Watch out for the knockback. Oh, I didn't. I resisted the knockback or something, apparently.
Never fought anyone like me. I was Sith. I am Jedi.
I think we're gonna go too fast for even his voice emotes.
Anyone like me. I was Sith.
I like these big
I am
asteroids floating
Jedi.
around inside the foundry here.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, so now in theory we defeated him, but did we? Question mark, question mark.
Question mark.
Since we have a Shadow of Revan expansion to look forward to, I think we realize that we have not defeated him for all time. But there we go. So this is the introduction of Revan back into the Star Wars: The Old Republic universe. And we've got the Undying Revan here in our chat room, which is other incarnations of Revan. The Revan story, I still think that this should be an Old Republic, the first Old Republic movie that they put into production.
Yeah.
It's such a strong character. It's such a strong storyline. They could really do it in an interesting way and do it right. This would be great to see on the big screen.
I mean, it has everything, even romance.
Even romance, you're right.
Because he has his companion. I mean, you know.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Wink's as good as a nod to a blind man. If you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you mean. But yeah.
All right. Click. Talk on the holo communicator.
This is station control to the Imperial fleet. The foundry is ours.
Fantastic news, my lord. We lost good men in the fleet battle, but we're mopping up the last of the Republic ships now. I assume the Jedi Master has also been eliminated?
Don't ask stupid questions.
If he was still alive, we wouldn't be talking.
Of course. But we must confirm our kills. As soon as we're secure, Darth Malgus wants you back on the flagship. There's still much to discuss. Fenrir out.
Nice mustache, Fenrir. Title unlocked. Max the Unmasked. Oh, and a deco. Rakata Stasis Chamber. What does that look like? That's not it. Oh, cool. Accept. Thank you. All right. So that wraps up our flashpoint. Any final parting speculation on 6.0? So I'm predicting, to sum it up, I'm predicting at least 2 operations. Not at least 2 operations. I'm predicting 2 operations. I'm predicting a couple flashpoints. I'm predicting 5 levels as sort of the baseline. And then the things I want on top of that are, the stretch goals are PvE for GSF, a new class, maybe a droid class with advanced classes, which go down the tank and healer routes, support droid and assault droid type routes. And then what else did I want? Oh, minigames. I want the minigames. So how about you, Seema?
Well, I mean, as they're pointing out in the chat room, they did say that this, they're going back to the imp versus pub struggle. So I think it would be nice if we had a way of like attacking the other person's fleet, like infiltrating, like maybe have some missions where we have to go on the other fleet. Yes, it would be a version of it, an instance version of it, but maybe that would be a flashpoint. You know how like the original flashpoints, the SLS and Black Talon, where you go into the enemy ship and you have to do all these things, but we go into the fleet and
right. That's a good call.
Kill all the auctioneers.
Or the assault on Tython, assault on Korriban.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, if you really want to revive PvP, is allow action, to the PvP map only maybe, but allow actual assault on the enemy fleet. That would be really that would be really cool. And you can get an ops team together, get 24 people all together and go jump on a shuttle, dock to the fleet, and run in there and see how long you can live before the whole Republic rises up and hunts you down and kicks you out. If it's a PvP map, then it might start with not many people in it. But if you're ransacking the PvP map of the enemy fleet, them rallying the troops to kick you off, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be.
You are right.
And since you mentioned 24, I mean, as long as this is kind of turned into a wish list thing, I would really like to see, along with, extended lockouts, some kind of flex. That would help us so much, so that when we had 14 players instead of 16 or 12 or something,
yes,
we could still, everybody could go. Nobody would have to sit.
10, 11,
or if
12,
we had 18.
That's the most, yeah, exactly. Or specifically, when you're just a few over, that's the biggest problem. So when you're at 9, 10, 11, 12, or when you're at 17, 18, 19, 20, those are the worst.
Yes, exactly. When you're just a little over, that's the worst.
Yeah. Totally agree. But yeah, you threw in there as just a quick side throwaway lockouts. Boy, we could really use lockouts right now for Isaac.
Yes, we could.
So there's that. All right, well, that was kind of fun. Maybe we should write those down and then see how wrong we are when 6th item comes around. But that's I always have fun doing that. So we'll document it. We'll remember, and if we're right, then we'll certainly talk about it and claim victory on the things that we were right about, at least, and then just ignore the things we were wrong about. But with that, I think we are wrapped up for tonight and this week. Our EPC 237 droid here is ready to ship out. Please keep up with us on Twitter, @MaxTheGrand, @AIESEMA. Subscribe on YouTube. That's a fun thing to do. We could use more subscribers on YouTube. Not a big deal, but we've got that. Catch us on Twitter, on Twitch, twitch.tv/NewOverlords. And certainly, the reason we do this podcast, if you know cool people that should be playing with us on Jedi Covenant, that's not our server anymore. Starforge.
Join us as we go back in time.
If you know people that should be joining our guild, AIE, at aie-guild.org, have them come check us out. Have them come check out the podcast. Have them check out our website. Have them jump on Starforge and jump in our officer channel /AIE LFO and ask for a guild invite, because we would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.